What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 5, the semifinals of the War of the Roses 2024. We got two brand new decks that haven't been featured on the channel yet, so without further ado, let's take a look at the deck list. First up, we have Aaron, who's actually one of the TOs for the War of the Roses, doing very well in his own event with a Mono Black Aggro beats, a hand disruption, all the good stuff deck. Very cool to see. This also is obviously one of my favorite colors and favorite styles to play in old school, so I might be a little biased, but overall though, just super rad. Can't wait to see how it plays. Next up, we have Scott with what he is calling 4-color Armageddon. This is a fully powered list that is utilizing pretty much the best cards those 4 colors can offer. The Argothian Pixies are an interesting include, probably just as a hedge against the abundance of shops in the meta. This was a format that did allow 4 workshops, 4 strip mines, and he does have the strips as well, but they also are just good blockers and good aggro threats if your opponent is playing mostly artifacts. The Sarah Angels are definitely going to be relevant in this matchup as they're the biggest thing he's got and will be able to stand up to the majority of his threats. And yeah, some sweet altars as well. Gotta call it that Brain Geyser and the Armageddon. This should be a great match. Let's get into the games. Okay, here we go. We have Aaron on the left, Scott on the right. Now, both players do have some low to the ground aggressive creatures, but I think Aaron is definitely going to be the one who wants to go first, or is going to benefit the most from going first. It looks like we're getting a bit of a roll off here. Tied again. This is a great example of why I just prefer to do odd even. Definitely makes the whole rolling part of the dice, or the rolling deciding who goes first, and there he goes, he tied again. Much easier, although that is a very good roll now from Aaron. Yes, all right, there we go. Aaron is going to take that down and gets to go first. This deck can definitely benefit from explosive starts with Dark Rituals. I'm assuming he has Dark Rituals. I just totally glaze over the fact that if he had him in his list or not. I'm pretty sure he would. Mono Black doesn't have a reason not to play them, especially being able to turn one into Hippie, which is, of course, my favorite thing to do in Magic. But we're just going to go land and pass. He does have a couple of threats in hand, but it's mostly just creatures and lands. Alright, going to play out Factory and pass. Scott surprisingly not wastelanding either of those cards, and in fact is going to just tap out for a Pixie as first threat down on the board. And I think we're going to see a Hippie here. Yes, okay. I think Scott did draw an Armageddon. Alright, we're going to be swinging in. No reason to block with a Hippie. Are we going to see... Alright, Sarah did. Makes sense. Little reminder to take damage. Okay, I think that's a Black Knight altar. But 5/5's coming down. And pass. So that was a good answer to... The Serendip was a good answer to the Hypnotic Spectre, but not going to be able to do much against that 5/5. Both players also going to be taking damage at the start of their turns, which is going to progress the clock one way or the other, for sure. Not thinking here a little bit. Gonna play out a Chaos Orb, and we're gonna try and hit him. No, not yet. Alright, we are gonna get Orb Flip on camera. It is good. Definitely rotated, and that Juzam Jin is gone. Out of here. Swinging in for a lot of damage and pass. Notably, that Hypnotic Spectre, though, can now get in and disrupt Scott's hand. And you can just play out another big threat. Ooh, is that a Sengir Vampire? I think it is. Ooh, it's a Disenchant. Not the worst hit. But yeah, I think we're just gonna go Sengir Vampire. Makes a ton of sense. getting a good flying threat to help block that Serendib is important. Alright, we're gonna play down the Lotus. Has all the mana in the world. What are we gonna do with it? Alright, I'm gonna crack the Lotus. Five floating. How about a Sarah Angel? Alright. The perfect counter to a vampire. And now the board is stalemated again. There is another Juzam Jin. Ooh, an orb. That actually is huge. Are we going to see 2 orb flips in the same game? I don't think that's happened yet on camera. Do we go for it? Think so. Yep. All right. Gonna try an orb flip on the Sarah. And a perfect flip. All right, that thing is gone. And the vampire is cleared for takeoff. Coming at you for 4. And all Scott can do is let it through. All right, play out another threat and pass the turn. So Scott definitely had the quick start, but Aaron is now caught back up. And unless Scott can find an answer for that vampire, these are going to be a quick set of turns. He eventually will have to block to avoid lethal, and then the vampire just gets bigger. He does have, I think, 2 swords main, which I think are his only outs, other than another Sarah Angel, or potentially just another Serendib, some other kind of blocker to potentially double block, which would not be ideal. Considering getting aggressive here. Aaron pointing at his Hypnotic Spectre, saying, do you really want to do that? That Spectre only getting in once. It did hit a disenchant, which hasn't been relevant yet. But any additional hand hate could be relevant. I think Scott doesn't have any good attacks here, not knowing what's in his hand. I think he just passes. Some discussion here on whether or not the vampire triggers.
This would have been the second turn for sure because I swung at them. So
vampire only gets bigger if it does damage to a creature and then the creature dies. It just doesn't see every creature die, right? I'm like 99% sure. Alright, not sure what the discussion is. Yeah, Scott tapping. No? Still thinking. Okay, interesting. Going to combat, full send. Can't stop the vampire right now. Might as well get you close to dead as well. All the mana up. This could be a trap. Do you potentially block with... Yeah, I mean, the Black Knight makes a lot of sense, right? First strike. Okay, so that dies. Oh, wait, no, that's an Orderly Ebon hand. It's not a Black Knight. It doesn't have the mana to give it first strike. Alright, and we have an Urnum Jin hitting the field. And that is definitely going to help with the clock. Now, swinging it back the other way, take 6, drop to 5, potentially lose your 1 answer in hand. Gothian Pixies, I mean, that would be a blocker. Actually, no, it wouldn't, sorry. Both creatures have flying. There's a Juzam Jin and a rack. Oh no. I think that means that's going to be game depending on what Scott draws. He is going to be taking 2.
So 1, 2, 3. I'll go to 2.
So he should be at 3, right? Oh no, sorry, 1 also for the Serendib. Yes, so it takes 3. Can he somehow win this turn? Aaron doesn't have a flyer. But looking pretty dead. Or sorry, Scott's looking pretty dead this game. Unless you have a swords or something. Even then, I don't know if that's enough.
I don't see it.
Yeah, because you're just dead to the... No matter what, you're dead to the rack. Next turn. I am curious what he does have in hand. Alright, it's just gonna pass. Aaron taking a point, dropping a 9. Does have a Black Knight and I think a Terror. Did you just draw a Terror just to seal the deal? I mean, Scott's dead, but that's just even extra dead. I think Aaron a little stumped, wondering what Scott could have to save him. And yeah, might as well just full send. Notably didn't animate the factory. And yeah, I think it's just sending those 3 in. Letting blockers happen, which makes me think that there isn't a Terror in hand.
Unless you have a recall, I don't know how you get out.
And yeah, I'm not sure what the play is here. I mean, he could sword his own creature. Is that what's gonna happen? Just to stay alive long enough to take some damage. But because he does that, he takes 2 on his draw. Anyways. I think he's still just dead. Or at least he would be for sure dead if the factory had also swung in. But I can see why Aaron would want to full check. Alright, so I was gonna gain some life, take 2. Sorry, take 3, so he just dies, yeah. Yeah, this game's over. Oh, that was a demonic tutor that he drew. Okay. Alright, game number 2. Here we go. Okay, here's game number 2. I understand Scott wanting to just play it out, see if you come up with an out, but yeah, that last turn or 2, the writing was definitely on the wall. Aaron drawing that orb for this Air Angel I think was very clutch, and Scott not seeing either of his swords definitely hurt. Well, sorry, I guess he did see a sword very much at the end when it was too late. Not sure when he drew that. He must have drawn that that turn. Because I could definitely see sorting the Singular Vampire much earlier. Especially without knowing that there was a Juzam Jin as well.
I got a house rented. Where's the house close by? Where the dam took care of it? I'm not sure. So if you're looking for a place.
Alright, just making sure it's good and shuffled.
Nice. Looking for people to come by.
Looks like Aaron's gonna be keeping his 7.
All right. Good luck. All right. You too. Hopefully it's not a complete blowout. We'll see.
And that is definitely a solid 7. There's a Dark Rip, there's some threats. No hippie.
We will keep this.
But definitely worth keeping. A lot of lands. Alright, Scott's got the mock start.
I thought you weren't supposed to use that against me.
Into a birds. Ooh, and what did Aaron just draw? Can't really tell what that one was. Alright. Just gonna pass with the factory. Either player doing a whole lot. Scott having a ton of mana open and not casting anything is a little suspicious. Alright, we're gonna have to go for the ritual here. Play out an Order of the Ebon Hand. Animate the factory with the leftover mana, which will get disenchanted. Okay, that makes sense. And maybe the reason why Scott's not doing much is because all he has in hand are lands and a disenchant. Is not what you want to see. Combat first. Threaten to give first strike. That won't happen, so then another Ebon Hand will come down. We have 2 of the 4 horsemen. Not quite sure what Scott drew, but definitely not a creature, otherwise he'd be slamming it down. Might be flooding out a lot here. I think that is the case, unfortunately. Not what you want to see in game 2 of the semifinals is just all lands. At a certain point, you probably want to block one of the orders, just a chump block. You're at the point where you have so much mana. Yeah, that makes sense. You'll be able to cast anything in your deck. Is going to give it first strike, I think. Doesn't need to, though. And then just going to pass. Alright. Drew a creature. Terror. That's what that card was. Okay. Holding up the terror. Makes sense. Land for turn. Swinging in. Gonna give them both +1/+1. Take 6. Down to 10. Scott really needed a threat here, but I think that was a swords. Oh no, it was a birds. Okay. Very least can block 1. Swing in.
Take 2.
Just take 2. And then is that a Juzam Jin? It is. Okay, this might be the nail in the coffin. Oh, he was saving the swords just for that. Gain 5. Nice little pile of life for Aaron, and Scott's is dwindling quite a bit. At the very least, can take 6 this turn. Another Dark Ritual. Could be more. Okay, I'm gonna play out the orb. Swinging for 4.
Again, block. Are you pumping or no pumps?
Yeah, I'll do pump. So 5.
Gonna buff. Yep.
Disenchant.
Oh, and the disenchant. Maybe playing out his 5th land would have been good, because then he could have activated the orb in response. But at this point, either of these guys is lethal. No creatures in hand. That means Aaron is taking it down and moving on to the finals. All right, guys, and that is gonna be it. Aaron taking it down in a clean 2-0 with Mono Black Aggro. Love to see it. Good job to Scott. A little bit of flooding there in game 2 is quite unfortunate, but that's just sometimes the way Magic goes. Thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. There is going to be one more round of old school, and then unfortunately that's going to be it for old school content. I would love to do more, so if you want to see more, make sure to comment down below. If you've already liked, subscribed, commented, done all that stuff, there is a Patreon link in the video description. That money goes towards gear upgrades and travel expenses for the channel and is greatly appreciated. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.